Now, if you are in USDA zones 9 through 11, we are officially at the changing of seasons. You know, the last 2 months, our annual vegetable beds have been slowing down. They're kind of going to sleep. And I've had a lot of folks go, well, how come I can't, do summer annual vegetable growing? I'll get more into that later. Mainly, it's just too hard. You know what I mean? So right now, most of the annual vegetable beds in Florida, aside from maybe a couple beans or okra, are pretty much going to bed. And it's the most opportune time to just cover crop them. So a bean, a pea, a legume, you know me, I love the sun hemp, the Gencia crotalaria, because of how much biomass it produces. It's usable for cattle forage and fodder. It's even safe for horses, and it's a really good nitrogen fixer. So this is 9 through 11. This is the busy season. Annual vegetables are going to sleep. Food forest is in full swing, full production. Some places in Florida, it's still in full healing mode, repairing itself from our crazy freezes this year. So the three things that I would be thinking of in USDA zones 9 through 11, very different than cold season or cold climate. First and foremost is summer soil amending. So this is the time for the food forest to do your biggest fertilization is really going to be now. So if you're doing a one ingredient or one bag, I would probably do a Spoma Organics tree tone on most of the food forest. Holly tone if it's something that's acidic loving like citrus or maybe avocados or that sort of thing. But primarily I'm using tree tone if I just want one bag to go on the stuff. If I want to kind of mad scientist it, which I always do, I'm doing things like azomite, I'm doing bone meal, I'm doing feather meal, I'm doing compost, I'm doing worm castings. This is the mad scientist time. Feed your food forest. After that hard of a winter, if you don't feed your food forest, it's not going to repair itself the way that it needs to before it goes into winter. And as a general rule, some things really just love to be fed. Bananas and papayas, for example. If you don't feed your bananas, they're not going to feed you. Bananas are not meant to have grass growing up against the base, nor are papayas. They love compost. They love manure. They love all the things. So this month is the time to hit your food forest the hardest. Preferably beginning of the month, middle of the month. When you get to the very last couple days of June, 1st of July, fertilizing in some locations is technically forbidden. Now, practically the reason why is those synthetic fertilizers give such crazy high amounts of nitrogen and phosphorus specifically, it causes algae blooms. Now, when you look at the amount of nitrogen and phosphorus in a synthetic compared to the type and the amount and the slow release that's in an organic base, it's not even comparable. The organic base is much lighter, much more bioavailable. It's being taken up by your plants and by the soil structure. It's not being washed away like the synthetic version. So in the summer in Florida and California, we're not fertilizing with synthetics our yards and our gardens and our food forests with synthetics because it causes algae blooms. Now with the organic ones, again, that's a very, very different scenario. So if in doubt, or if you're really close to a body of water, compost. Compost is like always the solution. So second thing that I would be doing heavy in June and July are the foliar sprays. I prepped you a little bit last month because I wanted to get the ball rolling. That's why we did the really long free class on Patreon. I'll put the link to that in the description. I think most of you have watched that by now. But foliar sprays, this is the month to be doing it, June and July. The reason why I do it a lot this month and next month in Florida is the humidity levels are increasing, and because the temperatures are a little bit all over the map, there's a higher chance of getting powdery mildew, sooty mold, bacteria, fungal issues, and if you do your foliar sprays, that can really stave those things off or act as a preventative. I personally don't like to be reactive in August and September. I would rather be proactive in June and July. So now is your opportunity to be proactive. Do your fish emulsion, do your kelp. Do your probiotic sprays. I like to do mine at a half dose so I can do it more frequently, at least once a month, if not every other week. I just go through the food forest and I spray and pray, and I pray over my garden. So that's my personal take. Do with it what you want, but I would say half dose more frequently is better than just doing the once a month or every other month in the summer. Now, the third thing in USDA zones 9 through 11, harvesting. This is harvest season. Some of you are already starting to get incredible harvests, even after the cold. I had a phenomenal year when it came to my cherries. My cherry of the Rio Grande, my Savannah cherry, my Jabuticabas are all they've gone bonkers. My Jabuticabas fruited so much more this year. I had a little bit of dieback, at the top of them, which, from a freeze is expected, but the plants responded brilliantly, absolutely brilliantly, especially in areas where you've got bamboo, yerba mate, Simpson stopper on the north and on the east side to give those berries the protection. Man, it was a good year. It was a great year. Mulberries. My mulberries were literally sagging, hanging down branches because they were I had some that had broken actually because there were so many berries on them. And even me and the peacocks, we couldn't even eat them all. Those peacocks usually will eat me out of house and home, but man, they couldn't keep up with the great mulberry harvest this year. So this is officially the harvest season. Really lean into greens. Now, if you're in Patreon, there's an awesome PDF. I think it's awesome, but there's a PDF that has recipes for tropical spinaches. So if you don't know what to do with longevity spinach, Okinawa, Brazilian spinach, Suriname, and Sisu, and Jewels of Opar, Chaya, if you're like, dude, I have no idea what to do with this. I grow it. I have so much of it. What do I do? There's a great recipe PDF there in Patreon just to give you some ideas of ways to use those. And I would say give yourself a challenge. Just say, you know what? I'm going to cook with something out of my food forest every day. It could be you walk out and you harvest one sprig of rosemary and you just are grilling your meat and you just smack the top of the meat with it. Great. Awesome way to use that rosemary. It could be scrambled eggs in the morning and you go out and grab a handful of longevity spinach, you chop it up, throw it in your scrambled eggs. Try and use one thing a day from your food forest. Could be Dyer's chamomile. That's what I've been enjoying lately. Dyer's chamomile flowers, nice cup of hot tea before bed. But this is your season. This is the time of year that you've been waiting for. Don't be afraid to use your food forest. Don't be afraid to utilize those plants. This is what we're here for, is to be utilizing it. So if in doubt and you are in Patreon, say, hey, what do I do with X, Y, and Z plant? Throw it into the chat and you will, I promise you, get great ideas. I was watching the other day, Cliff, one of the awesome moderators in Patreon, was sharing ideas for zucchini bread because a lot of you guys have zucchini coming out your ears right now. So it's a great place to bounce ideas with people that really know their stuff. So that's what I'd be doing, USDA zones 9 through 11, soil amending, foliar sprays, and enjoying the food forest. So those are the top 3 things that I'd be doing in June, that I am doing in June. Let's go.